Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the Victorian Studio podcast. My name is Maureen and I'm coming to you from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada on Monday, September the 21st, 2015. Well, I want to welcome all new and returning viewers. I hope you enjoy your visit in my studio today. I also want to thank all the YouTube subscribers and members of my Ravelry group. I really do appreciate the time you've taken to send comments, messages, and join in on the group and posted messages there as well. I really do love reading them all. Well, this week was an eventful week at work. On Monday, I got into the office and found an envelope sitting on my desk, and inside was a thank you card from our administration. And it was sent to me to thank me for providing some IT support for recent staff web seminars that we had going on. And it was so wonderful to get that positive feedback and show that you're truly appreciated. I'm very, very lucky that I have a job that I love and working with people who do appreciate what you do. So that was a wonderful way to start the week. And on Thursday, I celebrated my 36th anniversary in the healthcare field. So that was great as well. So hopefully I have many more years yet to have at a job that I really do enjoy. So other than work, at home in the evenings, I've been busy knitting as well. And on Tuesday, I realized that this weekend was the return of Doctor Who. The newest season of Doctor Who was starting on Saturday night. So I thought, what better time than this to start a Doctor Who themed project. So if you notice in behind me here, I have my Doctor Who bag and a TARDIS here. It's just one of the collectibles that I have here in my studio related to Doctor Who. So I'll show you that a little bit later. But needless to say, most of my knitting this week has been on that project. But let's start with the projects that I've already shown that are in progress. I don't have any finished projects this week, but I have been working a little bit on some of the others. So I'll start here in my Fondant Fibre cat bag from Deb at Fondant Fibre. It is holding my Hitchhiker shawl by Martina Bem. And the reason why it's in this bag is because it's a perfect match for the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn that's in it. This yarn usually is used for making socks, but I wanted to use this bullfinch colorway on something different, and so I decided to make the Hitchhiker shawl. And as if you're a returning viewer, as I mentioned last week, the Hitchhiker shawl is in reference to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And when it's completed, it should have 42 teeth, as they're called. They're just like a picot edge. And so far, I'm up to 21. This marker here shows what I was at last week. I was at 15, and I'm currently up to 21. You'd think that would be half of the 42, but not. It's an asymmetrical shawl, so it starts out very, very tiny and grows and grows and grows with each row. So maybe I'm a quarter way done, but I really enjoy the way this is working up on these 1.5 US needles. The fabric is very, very squishy, soft, springy. I love the West Yorkshire Spinners yarns. So I'm really enjoying this Hitchhiker project, and it's great to take along and work anywhere because it's a pretty easy pattern to memorize. So that is continuing to be worked on. My next project that I'm still working on is my Epic project for the Fibre Trek Shackleton knit along, and it is epic because I've never done a cardigan or a sweater before. It's my largest project, I believe, to date. Most complex one, at least. It's currently living in my Silver Shed bag by Anne Brodie. And I am using another yarn from the UK. It's UK Yarns Week, I guess. And it is the Wensleydale Sheep Shop Long Wool in the teal colorway. I got 10 of these balls on a D-stash on Ravelry. I love this yarn. It's just beautiful. It's 100% pure wool. A few weeks back, I had completed the right sleeve, and it basically has a cable on the cuff and then a single cable running up the arm. And now I've completed the left sleeve. And they are right and left because they do have mirrored cables. I don't know, it'll be kind of hard to show you that, but they do run in different directions. And the left sleeve, the marker there shows where I was last week. So I got quite a bit done this week and completed that sleeve. So I will be working on the pockets next of the front of the cardigan. I'll show you the pattern. It's a paid-for pattern from Interweave, and that's what it hopefully will look like when it's complete. So there's no deadline for this. With the Shackleton knit along, it's basically work on it for as long as you need. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm using size 6 US needles and really love the fabric that I'm getting on that cardigan. So that's continuing. I'm sure you'll be seeing it every week for quite a while. Now, the other project that I've been working on was something that I saw on Ravelry quite a while ago, a hat that had a Space Invaders design on it. And a few episodes ago I was talking about how my husband really loved playing Space Invaders many years ago on our old Atari system. And so I wanted to make him a scarf. But I didn't want to use the same pattern that I found. There was a hat pattern that just had a couple or even just one of the aliens from the Space Invaders game. I wanted to create my own design in the scarf. So this week what I did was I started a swatch to try to see how my design was going to look knitted up. So this is the design that I was working on in Excel, and I was going to do one side of the scarf using the design of the kind of screenshot of the game, and then on the other side the Atari logo. So this week I got some Briggs and Little yarn. It's called Durasport. Now, Briggs and Little is a Canadian company. It's Canada's oldest woolen mill in New Brunswick, and it's been in operation since 1857. And this is a one-ply yarn that I got at Ram Wools on Tuesday. I actually got this yarn for my Doctor Who project, but I thought some extra yarn would be good to do a swatch for this scarf. It's 80% pure wool and 20% nylon. And it's 430 yards in the skein, and each skein was only $6.50 each Canadian, so it was so reasonable. And if I had to describe it, I would say it's very similar to opal yarn, sock yarn, not the softest, but very durable. And I got it in 3 colorways: black, ecru, and a denim color. So the black and ecru I'm using for this swatch. It may be too scratchy for a scarf, I will see. It's an outerwear scarf, so that may not be an issue. But so far what I did was I used circular needles to knit it in the round. This is just a small swatch. It's the same way that I knit up my daughter's binary scarf. By knitting it in the round, it flattens out and hides all of that stitching inside when you're doing color work. So it's a great method to use. So this is so far the design of the little alien guys. Oh, upside down. Here they are, of the alien guys. Using the black and the ecru. I don't know if I'm thrilled with it yet. I'm still going to have to work on it, I think. I'll have to see how the other aliens kind of turn out. It's a little more difficult when you're trying to go from, you know, little pixel images that are squares to actually knitted stitches. So, I mean, yeah, it's not going to be exactly the same, so I will see how I feel about it. I'm still not too sure. Also, I'm testing out, you know, the fabric, how soft it's going to be and how flexible. I don't want it too stiff. So, like I say, that's the first test of that project. So I'll still be working on that a bit. And I don't have some time yet till Christmas, so you'll be seeing more of that in upcoming episodes as well. But as I mentioned, the majority of my time this week was spent working on a Doctor Who themed project for knitting. And I knew about Doctor Who for many, many years. You know, I mean, the episodes have been going, the show has been going since the 60s. But I really didn't get into Doctor Who until the new versions came out. And because of Netflix, I discovered when they returned to air from 2005, and the Doctor number 9, Christopher Eccleston. And I started binge watching, as you do with Netflix, and really enjoyed the new series. I like all kinds of science fiction. I don't know what it is about people who like computers and science fiction. It kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, I love Star Wars and Star Trek and all kinds of science fiction. So it was only natural to really love Doctor Who as well. My favorite Doctor, though, is number 10, David Tennant. I love the Doctor Who Tennant years, and actually bought myself all of the David Tennant episodes and specials on DVD so I can enjoy them anytime. So one of the things I wanted to do for when the newest series started this fall was a pair of socks. So I looked online on Ravelry for some patterns. There are so many Doctor Who patterns on Ravelry. Everything from dishcloths to, of course, the classic Doctor number 4 scarf, to blankets, you know, anything, little dolls, all kinds of things Doctor Who related. But I wanted to do a pair of socks. And so I found quite a few patterns for free that were TARDIS socks. Now, for those who don't know Doctor Who, TARDIS is the Doctor's spaceship, as you would call it. It's the time and relative dimension in space machine. So this TARDIS actually is a cookie or candy jar that I got from my niece for Christmas this past year. So I just love it. And the reason why I brought it out is because I changed the design of my knitting project because of this item here. So the project that I'm working on, of course, I'm keeping in my TARDIS bag. This is some fabric that I got on Spoonflower, and then fabric that I made on Spoonflower, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. And if you are a sewer or want to make anything, say like a project bag for yourself, Spoonflower is a great resource. So I will link Spoonflower in my show notes as well. So in my Doctor Who bag, I have this project, and I'll start by showing you the pattern that I chose. As I mentioned, there are a lot of TARDIS socks patterns on Ravelry. This one is called the Police Box Socks by Audrey Nicklin. And it's a free pattern, And it's basically cuff down socks. You start with the rib cuff, then the design of the TARDIS going down the sock. So when I first started this week, I did the police box sign just fine on both sides of the sock. I actually started again my socks at the same time. I did both socks at once with the cuff, so the 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then I started on one sock with the actual colorwork pattern. So I did the police box design as she had drawn it out, and then I almost completed the windows of the TARDIS until just about the end, probably like the second last row, when I realized there was a problem, at least to me, because I want it to look like the TARDIS. What she had designed is 3 sets of windows for each side of the socks. Show you the image of her chart. So you have the police box sign and then the 3 windows. You're working it from the top down. That's why it looks upside down. So, but if you notice on the real TARDIS, as if there's a real one, but the TARDIS from Doctor Who has 2 windows, because these are doors that open out. They swing out on either side. So on each door, there's a set of 6 panes of windows. So what I did was I ripped out all the windows back up to the police sign, the police box sign, ripped it all the way back, and went to my trusty Excel again and wrote my own pattern for only 2 windows. And that way it would look more like the TARDIS on both the front and the back of the socks. So here they are. I've only done one for the window part of the color work so far. And they have to be obviously blocked yet, but so far I've gotten down to where she stopped the color work. I'm going to continue down a little bit further, but here's the 2x2 rib, the police box section as she designed it, and then the 2 windows, so it's delineated by the 2 doors. I've also added in what is a sign, an instruction sign that's on the front of the TARDIS, and this is the Dr. 10 version of the TARDIS. Each time the Doctor regenerates, the TARDIS inside changes quite a bit, but the outside also changes a little bit. So each series you'll see that there's slight differences to the outside. So Dr. 11 has a St. John's Ambulance logo on it. Dr. 12 has a little bit different colors in the windows of the outside of the TARDIS. So this is my favorite Doctor's version of the TARDIS outside, the David Tennant Doctor number 10. So that's one side, there's the other. What I'm going to do is, what she had in the pattern, which was really nice, is pearls for making these edges, but going up and down, they're just slip stitched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue those for another 2 panels for the doors, one more section before I start then the heel and the foot and the toe of the socks. So I'm really thrilled with how it's going so far. And again, I'm using the Briggs & Little yarn that I got at Ram Wools, and using the ecru for the windows and the lettering of the police box sign, the black for the back of the police box sign, and the colorway that I'm using for the main blue of the TARDIS is called Denim. And so I split it in half because I was doing 2 at a time. Like I said, I've just got the cuff done of the second one. So I think I'll start with the color work of the second one next, so that they'll be at the same level of completion, and then I'll be able to then do the heels, the heel turn and the gusset and the rest of the sock concurrently. So yeah, I'm really thrilled with the yarn and the colors, and it's a lot of fun. It's a good project to do while watching the new and the old episodes of Doctor Who. So it'll probably take me probably a couple more weeks to get those finished, but they're a lot of fun to work on in the meantime. And also it's kind of fun to do my own design to make it more true to the TARDIS design. So I'll probably put in my notes for my project page the changes that I made to her pattern as well. Now, another thing that I love about Doctor Who, when I was watching the previous episodes on Netflix, my favorite Doctor is Doctor 10, but I think one of my favorite episodes was one of the Matt Smith episodes. And it does have kind of a knitting connection, and that's why I'm mentioning it. During the 2010 season, Matt Smith was Doctor number 11, and they had an episode called Vincent and the Doctor. And because I love to paint and I love all kinds of artwork, and I love visiting the Louvre and the museums in Amsterdam way back in the 70s when we went on our school trip. Vincent van Gogh does hold a special place in my heart. I really do love the work that he did. I mean, it's a sad story that Vincent was only 37 when he took his own life back in 1890. But in the 10 years previous to his death, he churned out about over 2,000 works of art. And yet he only sold 2 pieces during his lifetime. It wasn't until after he was gone that he was truly appreciated and became famous. And that's why this episode of Doctor Who struck such a chord with me. I'm so glad I was home alone when I was watching that episode. Me, like a lot of viewers of that episode, was bawling like a baby because they go back in time to visit Vincent, and they are able to show him using this, if only it were true, they were able to show him using the TARDIS how famous he was going to be 100 years later. And it was such a special episode, and it reminded me that Opal Yarns had put out back in 2012 a special edition of colorways based on 8 different Vincent van Gogh works of art. And I'll insert a picture here of the colorways that they created. So because they were discontinued by the time I started knitting, I took it upon myself to try to hunt down as many colorways as I could. The one I really wanted to get was based on his painting, A Starry Night. It was, of course, in the blues and the yellows and that kind of thing. And through Ravelry, D-Stashes, and some online stores, I was able to find 7 of the 8 colorways. I'm actually got a note into somebody who has the the 8th one that I'm missing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they're willing to ship to Canada and I'll be able to get the final colorway. But I thought I would share those with you today. These are some of my stash that I got over the past year. I guess I started last fall hunting these special colorways down. So Opal Yarns, they're famous for doing special edition series. They've done one on Harry Potter. They do special series, Child's Play, and different sets of colorways, and they'll do them for a while and then they just continue them. But this series is especially one that I wanted to add to my stash, and I want to make something very special with these colorways. I don't think I want to make socks out of them. I would like to do a series of maybe the same item in all of the colorways, maybe shawls or something else. But anyway, I thought I would share them with you. Now, what I'll do at the end of my episode is also show you the actual paintings these are based on. They do have small images on the bands, but they're kind of hard to see. But this first one is item number 5430. Now, because opal is a German yarn, the names are in German, but I'll say the names in English as they refer to the Van Gogh painting titles. So this first one is called Bedroom in Arles. Now, this is the second version that Vincent van Gogh did. He actually did two, one in 1888 and another in 1889. And this version is the second version of that painting. So that's the first opal yarn Van Gogh that I got. This one is 5431, and this is Cafe Terrace at Night. And the third one is sunflowers, a vase with 12 sunflowers. Now, Vincent did more than one painting of sunflowers in vases, and each one had different numbers of sunflowers. So this is the one that is the 12 sunflowers. It's very beautiful. The next one is called the Red Vineyard. Beautiful colors in that skein. And that number is 5433. The next one is 5434, and it is called the Railway Bridge Avenue, over Avenue Montmayor. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but I love the greens in this one. And this one is Gauguin's chair. Paul Gauguin, who was a friend of his, well, until about a year before he took his own life. Unfortunately, they came to blows and didn't part friends, but this was a painting. They each did a painting of each other's chair, and this is Gauguin's chair by Vincent van Gogh, and this number is 5436. And the last one I wanted to show you was the favorite yarn that I wanted to get, and I was able to find it in two skeins because it is my favorite. It's the famous Starry Night, and this is item 5435, and I just love the blues in this, and really a great representation of those paintings. So the only one that I'm missing is number 5437, the Restaurant de la Serene. And like I say, fingers crossed, I have sent a message to another Ravelry member who has that in their D-stash. So hopefully I can acquire that to finish off my collection of opal Vincent van Gogh yarns. So at the end of this episode, I'll put on larger images of the paintings with the associated yarns so you can see where they got their inspiration for those colorways. I think it was just wonderful to see that they've done something like that. It would be great if they did some more masters. You know, if they were able to do, you know, Michelangelo or Da Vinci or some others, that would be just wonderful. So I think that's all that I had to share knitting wise that I've gotten completed this week. Oh, yesterday, daughter and I spent the day doing some shopping and going to my mom and dad's, her grandparents' place in their senior center. and I took over a whole box of yarn from my stash that I know I wasn't going to use any longer. A lot of it was acrylic yarn, most of it that I required for doing some Easter eggs that I made last year in very pastel colors. So I ended up buying from Michael's a whole bunch of baby yarn so that I could get the right pastel-y colors for doing these Easter eggs in. But I had so much yarn left over. I thought that my mom's knitting group over at their senior center could use that yarn, so I took over a whole box, and she gave me some linen yarn from her stash. So we kind of did a yarn swap this week. I'll share with you next week what she gave me. But it was, yeah, so nice to be able to send some yarn to people who will be able to use it. So that was good. And while daughter and I were out, we also hit a few antique stores, of course. So I picked up an item that I have here sitting on my desk. And it's a string holder, vintage string holder, and it's exactly the same kind of design as the one I have hanging on my wall right here, if you can see that. It's cast iron, and the one hanging on the wall opens up similarly, but this one is made to sit on a desk, so I had to pick this up. Right now I have just some hand spun in it, and it just opens up, and you can dispense string, or in my case yarn. And it's great to have something like this on the desk so that when I want to pull off something for, say, using some waste yarn on a project, I can pull it off and snip it off really quickly. So I love that I was able to find that on our antique shopping spree this weekend. The other thing I wanted to share with you that was Doctor Who related that I haven't mentioned yet, before I did knitting, I did a lot of paper crafting, and had a lot of friends online that also did paper crafting, and we did a swap last year, and it was kind of a pay it forward swap where somebody would send you something and then you would send them something back, and then you would send other people things. So what I did was I made some note cards or notepads, and I wanted to make them all steampunk versions of kind of what these people were into. So one of the people that I did a swap with was somebody who collects buttons. So I did the front of her notepad using a steampunk design using buttons. And she was in the States, and then I also sent one to somebody in Canada, and then I also sent one to another friend in Australia, and she likes birds, so I did a steampunk cover on her notepad, you know, with bird cages and birds and things like that. And all of them, of course, had gears and that. But while I was doing this project, the reason why I mentioned it is I really wanted to make myself a notepad in a similar vein, steampunk again, but this time for myself, I made my own TARDIS. So this is the notepad, and so the ones that I sent all of the ladies online were very similar to this, had the same front and back, and they're held together with just some ribbon, and I printed off some paper and perforated that paper using my sewing machine without any thread to make the perforation so we could tear off the pages inside. And it's just chipboard that I used on the front and back. And then for mine, because it's Doctor Who and the TARDIS, I of course had to add in some clocks for the Time Lord, and gears, watch hands, and some other things to make it more steampunk. But I also made the TARDIS just out of pieces of chipboard. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the way that turned out. I just used acrylic black paint to paint everything in, then I glued everything down using E6000 glue, and then I just rubbed on some metallic paste in the copper color to bring out all of the images and textures on all of the parts. So that again is another Doctor Who item that I worked on last year, and it also has some charms on it, and one of them says wander, which the Doctor wanders quite a bit, and the other one is the sign on the front of the TARDIS. So that was a lot of fun to make, so I thought I would share that with you as well as another crafty thing that I did, Doctor Who related. So I think that's about all I have to share this week. The other exciting thing that's happening is the prizes have been coming in for the Toy Knit Along that's coming up October the 1st. So if you're not yet a member of my Ravelry group, make sure that you join, so that if you're going to be making a toy in the Toy Cal with Pin, Hook and Needles, Talia and Marlisha, and a few other co-hosts that I will cover all of the details on that probably next week, so that it comes up before October the 1st. Can't believe it's almost October already. But yeah, prizes have been arriving, and I'll be showing those off next week. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm going to be doing some new designs and projects for the Toy Along as well. It runs October 1st to December 31st, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited about participating and co-hosting that. And also in 2 weeks is the Manitoba Fibre Festival, and I'm going to be doing some video at that, so I'll be sharing that with you after the fact. It's on October the 3rd, so my podcast after that, I'm hoping to share video from the Fibre Festival. It's supposed to be larger than previous years, and this year they're actually going to have sheep there, so I'm looking forward to that. And also, daughter and I have signed up for a yarn dyeing class. So yep, I am falling down another rabbit hole. It looks like it's going to be fun, and really looking forward to that. So hopefully I can get some video of us doing that as well. So who knows what if I will continue dyeing after that, making my own yarn, or maybe not. Maybe I'll see how complex it is and really appreciate these indie dyers all that more. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and really looking forward to attending the festival and doing that class. So I guess that's it until next week. I hope you have a good week, and I want to thank you again for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this shorter episode, and I hope you'll join me again next week in my Victorian studio. So until then, bye-bye.